Hello and welcome to the interview on France 24. My guest is Badr Jafar. He's managing director of the Crescent Group. He's also a pioneer in the art world in the Middle East. Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning.
So you have many different activities, but your main business is oil and gas. So you're president of Crescent Petroleum based in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. You're also the chairperson of Gas City. But more recently, you have launched the Global Gumbo Group with music producer Quincy Jones to develop multimedia opportunities in the Middle East. And you've also opened a theater academy with Kevin Spacey. How would you describe yourself?
I know it seems like there are many different aspects of what I do, but there's some method to the madness. There's something that ties it all together. And I'm truly passionate about the role of social entrepreneurship in the Middle East, but also more globally. And I see that as a force to deal with and potentially to solve a lot of the socio-economic problems that exist today in the Middle East and, of course, wider.
So these cultural activities belong to this social entrepreneurship?
Well, social entrepreneurship has facets in every single industry or sector. Of course, the energy business, which is part of the Crescent Group, as you mentioned, has a tremendous potential to affect people's lives. Energy is impervious to society. Now, with respect to other aspects of business models, including, of course, culture, which I think has tremendous potential through the power of cultural diplomacy. So activating certain business models that can use culture to build bridges between different parts of the world. And I'm particularly passionate about that.
So you were born in Sharjah, in the United Arab Emirates, but you studied in the UK, you went to Eton, you went to Cambridge, also you studied in Harvard in the US. Your father is a businessman from Baghdad originally, and your mother is from Palestine. You said your father has never taught you everything he knows yet, but he taught you never to accept things for what they seem. What do you mean by that?
Always to use your own intuition, to always question. There are many situations today, and I faced growing up and being exposed to very different businesses and different aspects of learning about business. I was always taught, and especially by my father, to question. If something is not clear or evident from the start, then never just accept things for what they might seem. Always question, use your intuition. And that's something which I've used, again, as I said, because there's a number of different sectors and industries which I have the pleasure of being part of. That's served me very well. That advice has served me very well.
And so you've launched this Global Gumbo Group with music producer Quincy Jones. You've also opened this theater academy. What are basically the goals of this entertainment industry for you?
So for me, the power of music and the arts generally to act as an umbilical cord, as a very sort of non-political way, and as a universal language. Is it really
non-political?
Well, you see,
or is it a political
you see, I think
weapon?
This is where, and I think part of the debate we've been having in the Forum d'Avignon is how culture can positively influence politics. And so that's how I see it. I see it sort of driven, almost culture, positive culture driving the right sort of politics. And I see that,
So it is a power of influence?
Potentially, yes, but coming at it from a very sort of positive reinforcement angle, as it were. Music, as Quincy always says, is a universal language. It doesn't have a race, a religion, age, color. And so being able to use content generated from the Middle East, almost, as I said, to act as a language, as a form of communication with the rest of the world, I don't think is being done effectively today, but I see it having tremendous potential in the future. And that's why I have these partnerships with the likes of Quincy Jones.
What do you do exactly with Quincy Jones? You actually put together a song that was sung by Middle Eastern artists?
Yes. So the first project which we did together as part of the company we set up, which is called the Global Gumbo Group, is a recreation of the concept of the We Are the World, which Quincy first
remember
did.
the song in
Yes,
the 80s.
in 1984, precisely. And so this was a similar idea where we had one artist from every single country in the Arab world coming together, singing in solidarity for a better tomorrow. And we also had some participation from international recognized artists such as Akon, the well-known Shakira introduced the song as well. So it was a nice East-West collaboration, of course, with Quincy being a major international producer, and indeed it was one that had a good success. We managed to get close to 10 million, I think, downloads on or views on YouTube within a short space of time. We managed to raise money, which we donated to Save the Children and the UN World Food Programme to develop arts and culture programs for impoverished children in the Middle East.
So that's something you want to pursue with Quincy Jones, right?
Well, that was a single project, and that was a charity song. It was purely charity. But what we've done since and recently is we felt there was a need for a development of a true ecosystem for music as a support platform to launch local talent and stars from the region. So we launched something called the Dubai Music Week, which is going to be an annual event held in September. And that includes everything from seminars, conferences, concerts, boot camps with artists, battle of the bands.
Dubai could become a capital of culture?
Well, you see,
after being the capital of business?
I mean, I think the UAE in general has really been a sort of pioneer in the region at trying to embrace culture. Where I'm from, Sharjah is really the capital, in my opinion, maybe a biased opinion, but a capital of culture in the UAE and in the region. Sharjah was voted the capital of the UNESCO capital of the cultural capital of the Arab world in 1998. Next year, it's the Islamic capital of cultural capital of the world as well, and really pioneered. You know, Sharjah has 26 museums, all of which are grassroots. Sharjah has been holding the Biennale for now 22 or 23 years. So really, before others in the region were really focusing on arts and culture, Sharjah led the way in that. But I think there's tremendous new projects in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, of course, with all the museum projects that are happening there and the various islands.
And that's something that's really important for you. With Kevin Spacey, you putting together, you opened a theater academy. Where is it going to take place? In Dubai as well?
So the theater...
What's the idea?
Yeah. So the idea really was, you know, I grew up with a tremendous passion for theater, and I used to love going to theater, say, and, you know, wherever I had access to it. So it was either in the UK or if I ever visited in New York and Broadway. But I always felt that there was a deficit of content as well as theaters in the region, in my part of the world, in the Middle East and North Africa.
Historical reasons, well, religious reasons?
No, I mean, you see, again, the power of theater and the power of performing arts is tremendous. And it's not just creating actors and actresses, but the confidence levels and, again, the communication skills that can be built by the art of theater is something which I was really intrigued by. I also believe in never reinventing the wheel. I feel that there's sometimes many initiatives which are overlapping. So I feel whenever there's the expertise out there, to partner with the expertise. Kevin Spacey, I had the pleasure of meeting, and I discussed with him this idea.
So he's going to choose some actors in the Middle East and put together.
So the idea is not to build buildings. We have plenty of buildings in the region. What we need is content. So the idea is to create local content by activating youth in our region, so between the age of 16 and 24 or 25, and bringing them together, but not just, as I said, in acting, in writing, in developing, in stage management, in makeup, in costume. So everything that comes together to make a beautiful theater. And then ideally, once we have local content, we can take that to other parts of the world. Broadway, of course, the West End in London, etc.
So they will
maybe Avignon as well, hopefully.
They will have, what, 3 weeks to put together?
So the idea that the first academy, the idea is it will be a 6-week workshop where we will invite and do auditions for youth in the region to come and participate. At the end of the 6 weeks, we will develop a full play and hopefully take that play to parts of the world, as well as, of course, in the region itself.
When will this be?
We plan on hopefully having the first academy by Q2 2004.
Back to oil and gas, your main activity at the Crescent Group. You believe, apparently, that natural gas is the fuel for the next 50 years. Why would you say that?
I'll explain what I mean. Today we have a certain amount of energy requirement on a global basis, and we require around, on an energy basis, on a per barrel equivalent basis, around 250 million barrels of oil per day. Now that is something which is going to increase for 2 reasons. One is the global population is going to get bigger. They estimate around 9 to 9.5 billion by 2050. And secondly, the living standards of many peoples in the developing, what they call the developing world, is only going to increase. The estimates are that if we have living standards in a lot of the developing world coming towards, say, European living standards, and indeed population growth going to 9 billion by 2050, then by 2050 we could need another extra 300 to 350 million barrels of oil equivalent just to satisfy energy requirements. Now there's 3 ways to do that today. You have fossil fuels, you have nuclear energy, and you have renewable energy. And the trick is always to find, and the solution is always to find and to audit those types of energy requirement with 3 issues, with 3 parameters. the 3 A's, the availability, accessibility, and affordability. Now, when you look at those 3 different energy groups which I mentioned, natural gas is really the natural bridge to move from a fossil fuel environment to a renewable environment. And I think fossil fuels does satisfy those 3 A's that I just mentioned.
How do you think the price of crude oil will evolve? Will it go up, do you think, in the next few months?
Look, there are certain, in a few months, no, I don't think so. But I think there are certain sort of what they call black swans that could take place that could have a major impact. One is if Iraq manages to get its act together from a policy perspective, it could bring tremendous amount of new barrels on the market. Iran is another issue, which of course is quite a controversial issue today, as to what would Iran do with its energy. You know, today Iran has the 2nd largest gas reserves in the world, but is still a net gas importer. So there are certain things that can have tremendous impact. One, of course, is the issue of the unconventional oil and gas that exists. The U.S. will, in my opinion, certainly become a net gas exporter by 2017, 2018. I don't think the U.S. will ever become a net oil importer, but what I'm saying is it shifts the balance. Today, I think a lot of governments are basing their budgets on about $100 or so, and they have many social programs which require oil to be around that level. So I see oil remaining at the levels that they are for some time to come. But like I said, there are certain major events that could happen which could quite significantly impact the oil price.
Thank you very much, Badr Jafar. Thanks to you for watching, and stay with us on France 24.